Welcome back to High Stakes. Today, we will be discussing the following NFL matches that is happening on Sunday, September 10th, 2023. We will be providing our team, total and prop picks for the day. Before we get started, please remember to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our videos. If you want access to our premium picks, you can check out our Patreon page. You can find the link to our Patreon page in the description and comments section below. Tampa Bay Buccaneers vs Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota finished last season 13-4 after winning 7 straight regular season games but losing their wild card game against the Giants. Kirk Cousins returns a quarterback after racking up over 4,500 passing yards last season with 29 touchdowns and 14 interceptions. Justin Jefferson will obviously lead the wide receiver core after accumulating 1,809 receiving yards last season, but look for the Vikings to also incorporate T.J. Hockenson, who they acquired in the middle of last season and made an immediate impact. The offense will have to deal with the departure of Dalvin Cook, but Alexander Mattison should be more than capable of filling his shoes in an already established defense. On paper, the Vikings have one of the best defenses in the league. The defense for the Vikings is definitely not the strength of the team, with them being ranked in the bottom percentile of most defense rankings. Marcus Davenport is no slouch, but he is not quite the caliber of pass rusher that the Vikings would like. Brian Flores is the type of coordinator who will find ways to create consistent pressure, but this will also put pressure on their secondary. This becomes a problem as the Vikings will count on a rookie, 2 second-year players, and Byron Murphy at cornerback. Murphy is their best back, but he best fits his own heavy scheme and will likely be in a lot of man coverage this year. These defensive backs will have to perform well if they want to show they are better than some of the league's worst defenses. I'm inclined to pick the Vikings to cover the spread in this game for several reasons. Firstly, the line has shifted to 5.5 points from 7, which I find favorable. Secondly, the Vikings have the advantage of playing on their home turf, making them more than capable of securing a victory by a margin of a touchdown or more. Furthermore, the Vikings boast one of the league's premier offenses, while the Buccaneers face uncertainties with the departure of Tom Brady and Baker Mayfield stepping into the quarterback role. It's important to note that even with Brady, the Buccaneers finished with an 8-9 record last season, whereas the Vikings posted a strong 13-4 record. I anticipate that the Buccaneers may encounter challenges in the red zone, potentially leading to turnovers and difficulties converting crucial 3rd and 4th downs. Conversely, I expect standout performances from players like Jefferson and Hockenson on the Vikings side, with Mattison effectively moving the chains. These factors contribute to my confidence in selecting the Vikings to cover the spread in this matchup. Our total pick is over 45.5 points. Taking the over in this game for a couple of reasons. We know what the Vikings offense brings to the table, and they will likely provide a majority of the points in this game. While that is great, the main factor in taking this over is the matchup between the Bucs offense and the Vikings defense. While I do believe the Vikings will cover their spread, the Bucs should still get their fair share of points in this game. They still have a fairly threatening offense with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin running around, even with Baker Mayfield at the helm. Expect both teams to run a pretty pass-heavy offense, moving the ball downfield quickly and spending a lot of time in the red zone. The lack of run game should prevent chewing the clock while these teams trade blow after blow until the very end. I see both teams hanging up at least 24 points in what should be a high-scoring game overall. For these reasons, I am confident in taking the over for this matchup. Tennessee Titans vs New Orleans Saints. Take the Saints to win and cover. Derek Carr is set to make his debut with the New Orleans Saints after a 9-year run with the Raiders. Carr has a career completion percentage of 65% and averages 249.6 yards per game. The 4-time Pro Bowler is 32 years old and is ready to lead the Saints in a new direction after they missed the playoffs 2 seasons in a row. Alvin Kamara accounted for 34.9% of the team's touches last season, but the all-purpose back is suspended for the first 3 games of the season due to an incident in Las Vegas. The Saints acquired back Jamal Williams from the Lions in the offseason, and he will get the majority of the handoffs in this one. Michael Thomas returns, though it is difficult to project how effective he will be coming off injuries. Thomas is a red zone threat, as 30 of his 35 touchdowns have come from inside the 20. Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed are young receivers who bring speed on the outside. Cam Jordan is back to lead the defense. The 34-year-old defensive end is climbing up the all-time sacks list with 115.5 in his career. Linebacker Demario Davis led the team in tackles last season with 109 and will hold down the middle linebacker position again this year. Tyrann Mathieu led the team in interceptions last season with 3. He and Marshon Lattimore are high-level players in the secondary. There is a reason the Titans keep drafting quarterbacks. They know Ryan Tannehill is an average quarterback and they need to find his replacement quickly. Neither Will Levis nor Malik Willis have been able to take the starting job from Tannehill yet, so the Titans will keep searching. It is rumored that Derrick Henry will get fewer carries this season in order to establish a stronger pass game and lengthen his career. This will be a bad move by Tennessee. Henry has been the only productive offensive player for the past few years in Tennessee. The Saints will be without Kamara, but Carr is the better quarterback and can use Olive, Shaheed, Williams, and tight end Juwan Johnson to make big plays. If Michael Thomas is even 80% of what he was before, he is still a high-level receiver. The Saints have more weapons, a better quarterback, and are playing at home. Take the under. There are a lot of new faces on the offensive side of the ball in this game. I am not sure that Tannehill and Hopkins will be firing on all cylinders in week 1. It may take time for those two to form chemistry on the field. The same could be said for Carr. Though he is a better quarterback, he still will have to adjust to new weapons and a new play-calling system. Alvin Kamara being suspended takes the Saints' most reliable option out of the game, which will be a problem particularly on third down. The Saints are short on running backs, and the Titans do not have much depth at receiver. The defenses return the majority of their best players from last season and will have more cohesiveness than the offensive units. San Francisco 49ers vs Pittsburgh Steelers. Take the Steelers. Kenny Pickett will get his opportunity to start again for Pittsburgh, and this season he will be the day 1 starter. Pickett is in his second year in the league, but is already 25 and older than several quarterbacks who have been in the league longer. Last season, Pickett had a 63% completion percentage, but needs to improve on his 7-to-9 TT-int ratio. If he continues to throw more interceptions than touchdowns, we may see Mitch Trubisky back as the starter again. Running back Najee Harris returns after back-to-back 1,000-yard rushing seasons. Harris is a power back, and considering his strength at the goal line, he should score more than the 7 TDs he had last season. Receiver Deontay Johnson led the team in receptions, 86, and yards, 882, but did not catch a single touchdown, even though he was targeted in the red zone 18 times. They added Allen Robinson too from the Rams, and still have rising star George Pickens at wideout. Pat Freiermuth is a reliable tight end, though he is not known for making big plays. Minkah Fitzpatrick is a 3-time first-team All-Pro at safety and is one of the best defensive players in the league. He had his first interception as a Steeler against the 49ers, which can be seen above. TJ Watt is another excellent defender. His season was plagued with injuries last year, but he is healthy for the start of 2023. Alex Highsmith returns at linebacker after leading the team in sacks with 14.5 last season. The Steelers enjoy the advantage of playing at home, have fewer injury concerns to contend with, and are under the guidance of a well-prepared Mike Tomlin, ready to face Shanahan's offensive tactics. In contrast, the 49ers have several defensive starters listed as questionable, and even if they do play, they won't be operating at full capacity. The injury to George Kittle looms as a significant factor, akin to how Kansas City faced challenges without Kels, given Kittle's importance to the 49ers' offensive strategy. Brock Purdy's emergence last season caught defenses off guard, but Tomlin has had ample time in the offseason to devise a plan to counter the former 7th-round pick. Additionally, Pittsburgh has bolstered their receiving core with the addition of Allen Robinson too, and the young receivers possess the speed to create big plays. In this scenario, the Steelers find themselves in a favorable position, receiving points at home against a team that must travel across the country. Take the under. Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, TJ Watt, Minkah Fitzpatrick. I just listed 4 of the best defensive players in the NFL. They are all healthy and ready for week 1. The list of quarterbacks playing in this game is not nearly as impressive. Purdy and Pickett will each have moments where they struggle to read the defense or make the right plays fast enough against these aggressive defenses. Each team will rely heavily on the run game until their quarterback gets comfortable. This will keep the clock running on long drives and keep this under the total.